I promised the Mark Chamorro, and it's back to our friends with the Jen, Gabe, and Chewy show on ESPN Milwaukee. And here's what he said about basically targeting Brock Purdy.
But, Gabe, I go back, and it's little things like this. And the reason we won in 95 when no one gave us a chance in San Francisco is because we intimidated them. I mean, and I always revert to Wayne Simmons. Wayne Simmons kicked the crap out of Brent Jones. And then it got contagious, and then it carried over. That's why you guys are going to think I'm crazy.
Well, we already think that, so go ahead.
A 15-yard penalty, and I don't condone this, but I kind of do in the playoffs. A 15-yard penalty for a late hit on Brock Purdy is not a bad thing as long as it's worth it. I'm just saying, this is the mindset you go into when it's battle, and it's kind of like the reverse of hockey. What don't they do in hockey in the playoffs, Joshy?
Shave their beards?
That and one other thing.
They don't fight.
They don't fight. They don't fight, right? This is kind of like sometimes a 15-yard penalty is worth it early in the game if you knock the living crap out of the guy. And then he kind of like sticking your helmet in the ribs of Nick Bosa is like, but that I'm hearing ghosts.
Couple things.
Many things. First of all, you don't hear ghosts. You see ghosts.
That's right. Ask Sam Darnold.
Right. I mean, unless you hear the ghost go, ooh.
Which maybe you do.
Normally the expression is you see ghosts, but...
Have you ever seen a ghost?
Never.
Okay. You ever heard one?
No.
Okay.
I've heard some creaking in the house, and, I don't think that they're ghosts. I don't believe in ghosts. Roast? I don't believe in that.
I never know if I've seen a ghost, because aren't they invisible? I figure if you see him, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
You're doing it wrong.
No ghost.
Yeah, you can't just become visible all of a sudden. Now you're not a ghost anymore. Like, what does it mean to ghost someone? It means to not be there.
Right.
To be invisible. So how do you see a ghost? All right, rant over. Go ahead.
I mean, that's one of the... No, you said there are many things.
There are.
Well, and the other thing is, we beat up the Niners in 95.
Oh, stupid.
What happened the next week? Chewy? Oh, that's right. Dallas took you apart. Well, so it's not like that that desecration of Brent Jones led you anywhere.
You know what that would be?
It would be a desecration sensation, Mark.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So,
no problem.
Well, here's the thing.
Chewy.
Even if what he's saying is true, it's not applicable now. Go ahead. Try to intimidate Dre Greenlaw and Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Knock yourselves out. Bunch of little pups, 22-year-old. My name is Wicks, Jalen Reed, Romeo Dobbs. You've all been in the league for 37 seconds. You're going to walk into Levi's and intimidate Trent Williams and Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner and George Kittle. That's your plan? Go right ahead. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious that idea even exists. But the other side of it, and it's kind of the obvious response to it, is, this stuff's not good. It's just not good. It's not good to be like, I don't condone it, but I kind of do. It's like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You condone it. And here's the thing. People will wag their finger at this like, oh, this guy's some sort of a crazy rogue individual.
He's a monster.
He's not. This is real now. Jalen Rose has admitted that he tried to hurt Kobe Bryant in the playoffs. He's admitted it. So you're going to tell me that football players, you've watched this sport, you've watched these people, you think that they're well-adjusted when it comes to how to treat other people within the framework of a game? Like, this is absolutely maniacal. So the idea that someone wouldn't do this is crazy. However, my take on it is a little bit different than that. It's not, that nobody would ever do that. And that's not, but it's not good to say on the radio. It's not. It's irresponsible.
Well, he's not a player, so it's just his opinion.
Yeah, but he was.
Right.
He was. And I do think that stuff like this, maybe it's not talked about. Like, okay, here's our game plan. We're going to go injure someone. But to think that these guys in their hyped up state don't sort of have that mental approach out there. I think a lot of them do. I think that's the way defensive players are wired.
You mentioned Dre Greenlaw. Just watch him play.
Exactly.
He's not playing to injure, but he's definitely playing to intimidate.
He's not playing to not injure either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And think about the famous Niner playoff moment of Dante Whitner against Pierre Thomas, and that goal line hit that changed everything.
Yep.
That was a hit that had impact. Now, that hit nowadays is illegal, 15 yards and maybe an immediate ejection and an incarceration sensation, but
tarred and feathered.
Exactly. In that moment, that was a hit that had purpose behind it. And you watch Dre Greenlaw and you watch all the fellas on defense, they're going to be trying to make those sorts of hits. Not to injure, per se, but they're definitely going to be trying to lay the lumber and make their presence felt in this football game. And that goes both ways. And I agree with you, Mark Chmura, as a former professional football player, should not be advocating that, but we've had the same thing uttered on our station in the past. We had Bill Romanowski, who used to appear here weekly, and he would talk about taking a 15, okay?
And what are we talking about with Bill Romanowski?
We're talking about a guy who would advocate taking a 15-yarder.
A crazy person. And I say that.
That's Mark, Bill.
No,
it's not me.
Yeah.
It's not your boy the Dibber.
Bill would admit it, I bet.
Yeah,
Bill, like I've talked to Bill. You think Bill would be like, no, I'm not aggressive. Bill and most linebackers are cut from a completely different cloth.
Especially in that era, no doubt.
That's the way it is. But here's why I would further the conversation about how irresponsible, and maybe not irresponsible, but just quite frankly unkind it is to say this. You're talking about a player that had this happen last year. I mean, it literally led to a change in the rules in the NFL. It's not good for the league. It's not good for a young player's career. It was not good for the 49ers. It was not good for the playoffs as a whole. It's just bad. It's just bad all the way around. If you look at what the league is trying to do, every year there are rule changes. Why? To keep the quarterback healthy.
Yeah.
They do all kinds of stuff. In fact, if you want to know why someday that tush-push thing might get banned, it's not because the Eagles are really good at it. It's because they don't want their quarterbacks swimming in arms and legs. They don't want them doing that. Because when you end up with the New York Jets, what do you get? Not a good TV product. Oh, this week our quarterback's name is Tim. Hi, Tim. Good to meet you. Can you complete a pass? Not really, but I'll try. That's not what the league wants. So to be out here talking about 15-yarders specifically against one player who was already knocked out of the playoffs last year.
With a clean hit.
Clean hit, no doubt. But it led to a second half where the 49ers could only run the ball. Don't do that. Don't talk about that. In fact, it's only going to put you center stage if it were to actually happen. Like, how would you feel then?
Oh, he wouldn't care.
Well,
I'm
then,
sure
then he's a bad person.
Well, you don't say what he said unless you are looking to win this game by any means necessary. He doesn't care. He probably doesn't even know Brock Purdy.
Of course he doesn't.
So, I mean, he wants to just see his Packers win, and he speaks from a place of experience in terms of teams that are willing to do anything to go out there and win the football game. And if that means trying to knock somebody out of the game, that's what you're going to try to do. But the fact that he put his name to it and said it out loud, it definitely doesn't sound good. And it's classless is what it is, but it doesn't take away from the reality that, both teams and all these playoff teams are trying to get some sort of an edge. And if it means, you get a clean hit on a guy and he happens to not be able to play again the rest of that game, that's a good thing for your chance to win.
Yeah. I just like, how about this? What would you say to him if he were on the show right now? What would you say to him?
I would say you're a donkey. you got no clue.
You won't.
Call him. Get him on the phone. Get Chewy. Get me Chewy. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a clown take. It shows no class.
I wonder how he would feel because this is his next Packer. Maybe he does know Jordan Love.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, think about us saying the exact same thing back to him, and what would that sound like? Like, it's almost different because he played. So we sort of accept it. Like, oh, well, he's a football player. You know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe this is CTE talking for all we know. This guy's not even a defensive player, though. This guy played tight end. I'm sure he's tougher than me. There's no question about that. So that's not what I'm getting at. But think about if we said that. Yeah, you know what Greenlaw should do? Yeah. Give me a little 15-yarder on Jordan Love this weekend.
Yeah, talk me through that, Mark.
And then that'll stop all of this yippity-yap about the Packers having the best player on the field. You don't even know who their backup is. Who's the backup quarterback for the Packers? Let's see if we can get him in the football game this week.
Billy Blue Tent is what it is. Yeah, Jordan.
I actually don't even know.
Seeing how much you love being in the blue tent.
Who the hell is their backup quarterback? Oh, my God. I'm looking at their roster.
And?
I haven't even heard of either of these dudes.
Give me a name.
Sean Clifford.
Whoa, you've never heard of Sean Clifford?
I've not. I've heard of Clifford the Big Red Dog.
I
read those books.
Read.
Those were
read it about 7 times this morning.
And then is this pronounced Alex McGaw? Magoo?
McGaw!
Yeah. Let's get him in the game.
Yeah.
Let's take him out.
Get me McGaw.
Joe Shasky. Take him out. Let's do it. It's ridiculous, man. Who's talking about this stuff on the radio? Get off the radio.
First time Jordan Love drops back to pass, we got to dive right at his knee, Mark. Plant leg.
Come on, man.
Lead leg. You know what? Both his legs.
It's so funny because we're like, oh, these guys, oh, well, they played, and there's a mentality you have to have when you play. Well, then what are you doing at midfield after the game's over, hugging people, asking about their kids, and praying together? That's how this goes? You're telling me that's just a big charade? If the approach before the game is let's take him out? Come on, man.
Well, you're praying after the game that he gets better soon after you took him out. That's the way that goes.
Nice.